Here's your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, the franchise guide.
I think that I had someone just say, I'm overwhelmed. And they were only on after the second call. And I said, well, the franchisor is, and you have to ask these questions, what is included, what they will help you with kind of step by step. These are the questions to be asking. We haven't made a decision on the brand yet, but you want to find out the support. And as we mentioned, first time business owner, it is extremely overwhelming because you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know the questions to ask or the things to do. What are these legal entities? How do I set them up? Who does that? Do I do them online or the attorney? So I get it. And that's where there was just an interview, forget whose show it was on, but it was the president of the IFA said that 3/4 of people in the US have at some point in time thought of owning a business. And of those 3/4 of those people, so those 75% of the 75% said, well, they never got into business because they didn't know where to start, which is crazy in this day and age with the internet and the amount of information we have. So that was the one thing holding them back. It was the fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing where to start or who to contact. So hopefully we've gotten rid of that fear. There are people, not to say it is going to be a good fit for everyone. Obviously, I'm gonna say it is definitely not a good fit. Business ownership, franchising for everyone. You need to be qualified. You need to set some expectations. My question of the year or of last year was, I heard you can't lose money when you buy a franchise.
Oh, geez.
And my response was, if that were true, I wouldn't be speaking with you right now. I'd own them all, as a joke, obviously. But it was someone just out of college and said he heard somewhere on a podcast, you can't lose money. So there's some, And even if you heard that's a question to bring up with the franchise company, because not every brand is built the same. You talk with if you're looking at franchising and window coverings, you can't throw everyone in the same bucket and say, this is the industry. Each brand will kind of function differently. One may be owner operator. One may have you actually doing all the installs to start, or maybe they're not doing any marketing or call center, not utilizing AI. You need to see the differentiators between the brands. And I think too many people just say window coverings or flooring or painting is this, and they kind of think all the brands work that kind of function the same. And that is absolutely not the case. Yeah.
Yeah. You're 100% right about that. Yeah. We're quick to point out our differentiators, and we stand by those wholeheartedly. We're so fortunate to work with consultants like yourself, who we do get an opportunity to educate. And so many of the candidates that people like yourself, Giuseppe, send us already have a sense of who we are and what we are and why we're going to be potentially a little bit different. I think Kelsey and I do work very closely with the candidates. And I think because it's their family business, I think because I bought a franchise before when I wasn't super well versed in franchising, I really do take care to hold people's hand through this process, to educate them, to not assume that when we talk about an FDD, they know what I'm talking about, right? And to really walk them through the basics of franchising as much as we're educating them on the Bloomin Blinds opportunity. But we also rely on great consultants like yourself to help educate their candidates and provide us with candidates that are the right fit for this opportunity specifically. Yeah.
We try our best. We work with the willing. Someone said in our group, not everyone, to people that are open to learning and experiencing and knowing the differences, we try our best.
I think we should change it to, if you work with a franchise consultant, you can't lose money.
There you go. That'll be a snippet. That'll get me in a lot of trouble, but there you go. That'll be my last interview. Yeah, it's great. I mean, just for someone to say that really bothered me. I mean, I'm sure he misunderstood, but it's kind of bothersome if that actually was said, or maybe it was taken out of context. Who knows? But
having said all that, I think there's one point that I want to bring up on Bloomin, and there's in the FDD, which I just mentioned, which is the franchise disclosure document, the very large legal reading that every brand has. There's a section in that called the item 19, and that's financial performance representations on that specific brand. And when they're not all created equal, right? The amount of information a franchise system wants to put in there can be varying widely. And I think I'm really blessed to work on a brand that Kelsey and his family have decided to put a tremendous amount of information. There's 13 tables of information. There's 7 different P&Ls. We show you consolidated P&Ls for a single van owner versus a multi-van owner. So you can say, hey, why would I not want to scale my business down the road, right? We even show you a consolidated P&L for our owners for whom in that calendar year, that was their first full year of operation with us. So you can see what brand new owners are doing with us. And we're just really transparent. The information is there. It works for you or it doesn't. We continue to move along or we don't. But we'd rather give you as much information as we can to help you digest that and really determine if I use the term moving the needle. If we're moving the needle in your decision making, you should be going forward to keep working with us. And if it's not, then maybe this isn't the right brand for you. And that's okay too, right? We'll wish you well to find something that is. But I think having a very robust item 19 in our FDD is something we do get continual praise on in terms of just being able to disseminate the financial opportunity within the organization.
That's good to know. And someone viewing an FDD for the first time will have no idea. That's a very good point. I've seen a paragraph. I've seen it empty. I would say full listed P&Ls. I've seen it before. I don't think it's as common as people would think. I think they expect a P&L for every single franchisee. And I think setting the expectation of what you're going to be seeing and the differences is big. Can you share a success, maybe a recent success story? Someone that, and it could be, they've been in 6 months, a year or more, but can you share any success stories of franchisees that maybe invested in a Bloomin Blinds and expanded maybe into other territories?
Yeah, I'll jump on this one. Maybe I shouldn't be giving his name. I don't know. But he's a franchise owner in the North End of Philly, came in as a school administrator, wanted out of that world, was having desires to kind of move into his own business, jumped into Bloomin Blinds, jumped in the van, brought on a part-time employee right off the bat. That way he could focus on the sales and the marketing and the growth of the business. And then he had someone who could help him out with the labor side. Most of our owners don't have that part-time addition right off the bat. It's an option. It's just most of them don't. He's been with us about 3.5 years. I started off with a total of 4 territories. So he came in with an ambitious plan and he's executed. He's added, just recently, he just picked up 2 new territories. So he's up to 6 now. And he's running and gunning and having a really good time. He's purposefully driving towards the goals that he set forward. And he's using the systems and processes and the infrastructure that we've built around him. And then he's putting in the time, the work, and the energy to make the most out of it. And that's part of what I really love is he'll tell anyone, they're not here to do it for me. Mm-hmm. I'm here to use the systems as a catapult or as my ability to stand on the shoulders of giants, is a phrase he used, but he's using the framework to get the most out of it. And I just feel like that's a really good, healthy mentality. Sometimes franchising gives the mystique or perception that it's the easy button in business. And it is easier than creating it on your own. Mm-hmm. There's very much still that gut check that says that you got to show up every day. And so
you got to follow the system. Yeah. I mean, it's not a set it and forget it. What is it? The Ron Popeil said it. I don't know if you remember him, the inventor. He had the pasta, sausage maker. It was always after midnight, those infomercials, just set it and forget it. And I go, it is a lot easier than starting from scratch, but you have to execute. No, they're not the franchisor is not executing for you. You need to follow the blueprint, the process. And I think some people don't. They just think they invest and the business kind of runs on itself. I haven't found that business yet, but I'll keep looking. But to my knowledge, it doesn't exist.
I think Kelsey brings up a good point when you're talking about some of our franchisees and some of our success stories. One of the important things that you should be doing when you're vetting any franchise opportunities, having an opportunity not only to speak to the leadership team, you've got to get to know people like Kelsey and his brothers. And we put them up every week on calls that our candidates can join in on. But we do the same thing with our franchisees. And Bloomin is very fortunate to have a wide variety of franchisees on our validation calls, is what we call them, Giuseppe. And so each week we hold 1-hour Zoom calls, open format Q&A for them to just talk to a franchisee. Like, what are your pain points? What are the things that you've got challenges? Would you do this all over again? Where are you having success? What are your growth plans looking like? Are you meeting those? If not, how is anybody helping you with that, right? Bring those questions. But we put brand new owners. We've got 2 owners that just opened with us in 2024. So people can talk about, like, what does it look like the last few months for you? We've got legacy owners, some of our most successful owners that are in the system. The gentleman that Kelsey just mentioned validates with us and can talk about scaling his business. So we've got people that have come from all walks of life, and they've got all different stories. They've got different territory sizes. Some are in big major metros, some are in smaller. So there's really, you can see yourself in a little bit of different franchisees, but we highly encourage, like, you've got to talk to franchisees to understand from their perspective, is this something that you really want to dive into and do? And I often say, if you're not on those validation calls, or at least making some calls of your own, like, we don't really look at you as a serious candidate, because without validation, you can't really determine if the vision you have in your head or the stories that we've shared with you really make sense for you, and validate that this is the opportunity that you want to move forward with. It also gives us a chance to get to know the franchise candidates on a very different level as well. They get time to spend with the leadership team, and they, along with myself, can kind of pre-vet them before we have them out to Dallas to meet the team eventually. Right.
You would think that's common sense. I know for me, it was complete common sense to speak with other franchisees, but it's not. You need to really, you need to remind. I've been shocked.
Dude,
I've had people come in.
That's so hard.
It's
And
why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I tell my candidates quite frankly, look, if you're a couple of weeks in, you're not on any validation or leadership calls, I'm going to assume you're not interested in this brand, right? And I get it. Life happens. There's all kinds of things that will happen that prevent people from being on calls. But, the fact that you're working, or the fact that you've got kids in the evening, or the fact that, like, none of those are enough. You're looking at being a business owner. You're going to have to juggle responsibilities. You're going to be investing your time. If you can't do that now,
this is the easy part. Running a business is going to be a lot. If you can't handle validation and research of a brand, how are you going to manage an entire business? So yeah, it's the 3 stages. I always say, you talk with the franchisor, you learn about the brand, you talk to the franchisee's validation, and then stage 3 is you talk to the captain steering the ship. You talk to the franchisor directly, virtually, in person at a discovery, meet the team day. Or some brands aren't even doing that. They're doing it within their due diligence calls, and just asking, where is the ship going? What are we adding revenue streams? What others talking about AI? This is something new that we're going to be adding on. There's an added cost. There isn't a cost. This is included here, or we're changing something else up. But you have to have that complete picture, in my opinion, to be comfortable with it and to make the best informed decision. All stages equally important. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you as the consultant and myself as the franchise development person are not going to be part of the picture. The relationship lies with the franchise system, with the franchisor. If you haven't invested in them, if that's not where you're making your decision based on that interaction, that potential relationship, that's problematic.
Absolutely.
You and I are going to be gone.
Yes. Yeah. Right. We're not going to be here. I mean, that's exactly it. And I think they kind of forget that.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn how to make the transition from corporate to owning your franchise, join Giuseppe on the next episode. You can also follow on all social media platforms and achieve financial and time freedom today.